Welcome to Nevertheless Podcast with Bidemi Mark-Mordi, a show dedicated to organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. Today, you would learn how to discover your essence and live more powerfully.
Hello there. You're welcome to the Nevertheless show, and this is the third week in our Simplify series. It's been an amazing week 1, week 2, and of course I have with me BMM in the studio, and it's been amazing. And this week we're going to be talking about another way to simplify your life, and we're going to be talking about work. You're welcome, BMM.
Hey, John, God bless you.
Amen.
It's amazing. It's amazing. John likes the word amazing, yes?
Yes.
So really, it's been an amazing journey this last couple of weeks looking at this series, Simplify. And remember that what we're trying to do is we're reviewing lives at this season of economic meltdown around the globe.
Yeah.
And we're saying that people need to find a way to simplify their lives. You see, when we talk about simplifying our lives, I don't think I said this in the introduction, but it just occurred to me that simplifying our lives is not so much about doing less, as it is about being who God wants you to be. Do you see it? Okay. So it's not, when I talk about simplifying my life, I'm putting more and more on my plate right now. Right. But my life has been simplified because I am focused on the things that I need to do, and I'm taking the time to do them well. While paying attention to my mental health, while paying attention to my safe space and being, making the intentional decision to go to my safe space when I need to and just rest when I need to rest. Do you get it? Yes. So when we're talking about simplifying your life, we're not talking about throwing things out of your life that you need to do. Instead, we're saying recognize that your life, when your life becomes that thing that it looks like you are a puppet and you're being yanked on many chains or many strings, it is because you are living out of element. If you're living within the confines of how God wants you to live, you will not feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and tired. Do you see it? Yes. So this week we want to talk about how to simplify your life with work. I had to give that preamble because someone would think if I'm simplifying my life is work. Take on more work. Is work how to simplify my life? Yes, exactly. Because if you do the right work, it's amazing how that can empower you, energize you, and grant you fresh perspective and hope.
You said something, the right work.
The right work.
What do you mean the right work?
Okay, so I find that with the work that I do, no matter how tired, no matter how things are not going my way, it has never and did never impact on my capacity to do my work. My work is always still top-notch, no matter what isn't going right in the moment. Do you see it? Yes, and then, it helps me quickly reach a decision to resolve whatever is out of whack or out of sync in the moment. So, for instance, last Sunday we got to church and in the middle of the service, the gen conked out. And this is a gen, it's not like it's an old gen and stuff like that, but something happened. And that was where we were. If this was work that I didn't enjoy, I may not be able to teach what I was supposed to teach that day. But in spite of that, when I came up, I gave it my absolute best. The reason is because the work that I do is the work I know I'm configured to do. So people hit overwhelm pretty fast when they feel like I'm working really hard, I'm not getting the right remuneration that I should get, or I'm not being appreciated at the work that I do, or I don't even like the work, but I'm doing it to survive. Now, someone will be thinking, are you asking us to resign? No, don't do that. This is not about leaving your work, but about redefining the scope of your work, what it means in your life in the moment, so that you can do the right things that you need to do to bring yourself to the place where the next wave of overwhelm doesn't have to include you, because you have redefined what you're doing in the moment. Now that I've said that, when I'm talking about the right work, when I talk about Purpose University, online university where we teach many courses about how to become the person that God has called you to be, our flagship one being the DNA of purpose course. What I teach is that you need to find work you are good for. Work you are good for is work you can do no matter the circumstances and the conditions, and you never feel like you're working. Work that becomes like play, work that is enjoyable, work that you do and you're like, it gives you fulfillment, whether it meets your financial needs in the moment or it doesn't meet it. Because all things are not money, right?
True.
So when I talk about decluttering or uncluttering your life using work, I'm saying that no matter what your condition is that's brought you to overwhelm, if you have one part of your work life that is fun, that is interesting, you'll find that overwhelm doesn't really knock you down the way it knocks other people down. Okay. So you need to redefine your work. Know what work means for you. Because work is not just your work, number one, is a vehicle through which God brings man to wealth. But work is also, and pay attention to this, work is also how God brings us to the place of impact and making a difference. So some of us are deep in the place where we're doing work that we don't like, but we're doing it. There's no purpose to our work. And because of that, it's just painful to see yourself go to work daily and come back daily. I was reading, I can't remember where I was. I think I was teaching this, and I was talking about, it was one of my mentoring sessions with my mentees, and I was talking about work. I was talking about visioneering, and I was talking about the purpose of work. And I said that there is a difference between the man who thinks he's filling bags with dirt and the man who knows he's filling bags with dirt so that he can build an embankment to save his town. So the man who all he knows is they told me to fill this 500 bags with dirt. After the 25th bag, he gets tired, he's exhausted, he's overwhelmed, because there is nothing about his work that makes him feel like this is special.
It's not purposeful.
But if that man, when he came to take up the job, they said to him, our town is about to be under attack, and we want to save our town. Then he would say, what can I do to help? We say, we need to fill these 500 bags with dirt, so that we can build a dike or an embankment, so that if they shoot into our town, it does not
hit us directly.
Every bag he feels, his mind tells him, I'm saving my town. I'm saving my town. I'm saving my town. Can you see it?
So there's purpose to the work, and the work has purpose.
Exactly. So if you find yourself in the place of you are overwhelmed by the work you're doing, ask yourself, beyond earning a salary and going home, beyond earning a salary or working because people work, what is the purpose of my work? Now you can answer and say, the purpose of my work, number one, is I want to provide for my family. That's a very lofty thing to do, because in this day, age, and time, not everyone knows to provide for their family, or not everyone is capable of providing for their family. So if you know and you are capable of providing for your family, that is one why strong enough. Okay? Yes. But you can go beyond that why of providing for your family. Because really, when it comes to brass tacks as believers, God is the one that provides for all of us.
True.
Do you see it?
Yes.
But let's say, for instance, the business where you work in a real estate business, you're a builder. And you do low-income housing. If you have to redefine your work, what you should be saying is, I'm doing work that provides the vulnerable in our society
with a roof over their head,
to accommodation, one of the basic rights of mankind. I am providing it.
It makes that work noble.
It makes it noble. I say to my drivers, the only conversation I have with my drivers when I employ them is that you hold my life in your hand every time you drive me. So you are not moving a car
Moving
from
the car
one destination to
to
another
another.
destination. What you are actually doing every time I'm seated in the car and you drive me is that you are the custodian of my life in that moment. Because if you are reckless, it can be the reason that I lose my life. Now I need you, this is me having a conversation with my driver. I need you to pay attention. My life is being configured by God to help many, many, many become. If you are the reason that life is cut short, would you like it?
It's a ripple
Can you
effect
see?
now.
Can you see the definition?
There's purpose to that
There's
driving.
purpose to driving. So it's not that you're not driving to mark time. You're not driving because, well, there's no other job I could do. Let me drive. You are doing work that is noble. If half of us understand that work is beyond the rudiments of what you do, that work has a why, you'll find that uncluttering your life would be easy.
Very easy.
Because where you feel like, oh, they don't appreciate me at work, but you are a builder. And every time it's your turn to build, you make sure that the building materials are the right one. You can give yourself the comfort that, well, even if they don't appreciate me,
I have done something of
I've done, yes, something of value. I've built to the best of my ability. I can guarantee that barring many other things, not maybe natural disasters, this apartment I built will not be one of those ones that collapse and kill the people inside it. You've just given meaning to your work beyond the regular day-to-day activity. Do you see it?
Yes.
And in moments that becomes what you do, it's amazing if you imbibe that perspective and you allow it to take roots in your mind.
Yes.
You know, when people say I'm an ordinary tailor, I say no. If I have to help you craft a life sentence or an identity sentence, you're not a tailor. You're someone who, by their craft, boosts the confidence of other people. I would explain this by telling you something that happened in my life many years ago. Many years ago, I was a young lady, freshly married, just newly married, and I had people I'll call big sisters in church. Most of them had been married at least 15 years, 10 years, and I was just a fresh bride. But I wanted to learn, and I wanted to learn a lot from them. So I had a roster, once a week or maybe once in a month, I'll spend time with this person and I'll spend time with that person. Now, there were like 5 of them, and 4 of them also ministered in church. Okay. So in my interactions with them, they all discovered something about me. I can dress you up. I could actually do the work of a stylist. So when they had invitations to come speak or they're speaking in church, they would say to me, Bidemi, I'm speaking in 3 weeks' time or whatever, and I need a new outfit. They also knew I was very resourceful. I knew who sold the fabrics. I knew which tailors could make what. Sometimes I knew what the fabrics would make that would sit well on them. So I became their de facto designer, quote and unquote, stylist, yes. So I'm the one that would, because they all had jobs, big jobs or high-flying jobs, and they went to work most of the time. So I became the one who'd go into the market and source the fabrics. I became the one who would, come and say, this is the fabric, I'll come with a design or a style. This is what I think you should make with this fabric. I became the one who would go with them to the tailor, who would now take their measurement to make this outfit. And I became the one who would pick this outfit so that they can get, initially, some of them once or twice would be nasty, maybe because of their own pressure. They'll be nasty to me doing this thing for them. And it was in one of those experiences I went to God and I'm like, it's not like I'm not making money from this. Why has she acted the way she's acted? And it was in that time God said to me, you get part of the glory. And I was like, what does that mean? He said, look, do you know that, when they stand wearing, if you follow through and the outfits are done well. I know it is hard sometimes to interact with these tailors, but when these outfits are done well, when they show up on stage to maybe give a message or whatever it is they're doing, the confidence with which they show up impacts upon their capacity to deliver their message. And I was like, okay. And he said to me, for that reason, you contributed, and the bottom line is the people. So whatever impact they made on those people, you contributed to it.
Had a part to play.
That was what changed my perspective about work. And every day of my life till I take my last breath, if work cannot bring me to that understanding that I'm contributing something meaningful to God's earth, I will not take it and I will not do it.
This is a message to, I think, mid-level and senior level leaders.
Yes.
In dealing with, new hires and people they bring on board. It's not just quickly telling them, do your work, do this, do that. We should
tell them the why for the work that they are doing.
It changes.
Yes, and that's why actually, I think in June I'm going to be bringing in my Coach Anna McCoy, and in collaboration with Mr. Nia Desoya, we're having something somewhere exotic called the Theology of Work Boot Camp.
Yes.
We want to bring these CEOs and heads of HR together and just teach them some of these principles for them to know that, you don't just hire people. No, that, or even in hiring them, let them know that beyond their tasks, there is a why. Because if people have a why that is strong enough, they will do better with their work. And even when their work gets hard, they know I'm serving something bigger than me. That's the way I see it. I don't know if you think that is not strong enough. For me, it is strong enough.
It is. Understanding that this thing I'm doing, it's not just the stuffs I'm doing. It's impacting on the bigger picture.
Yes.
There's something that in the end I can. In short, I even believe that when I stand before God, I can say, God, I did this for this person effectively.
Exactly.
And it's a plus to me.
Yes.
I feel that's paradigm shifting.
Yes. And, because work is service. And there is a quote I watched in a movie many years ago and never forget. It was a story of Elizabeth, this homeless girl who went on to become someone of repute. And what she said in that movie was, she used these lines. She said, service is the rent we pay for living. Service is the rent we pay for living. And that thing stuck with me to say, I don't just work. Never will my work end up in just being work I do so that I can eat. Because God put me on this earth and rented the earth to me. If I serve well through my work, I'm paying God rent for the life that I live here on earth. So we can simplify our lives by just making sure that, I'm not talking about changing your job, just redefining your job. That's one way to redefine your job. Number 2 way to redefine your job is to see your job as a bridge. Because you asked me a question and I want to answer it. Before we started, you said, what happens when someone is doing the work to provide, to survive, to be the man of the home, for instance. Yes. And then I'm now saying, and simplify your life by, choosing the meaningful work. What does that mean? Do I have to resign my work? No. But you can take a look at your work and determine that my work is a bridge to where I'm going. So this may not be the work that has the strongest why for me, but it's a bridge. When you see your work as a bridge, do you know what it does? It gives you the opportunity to put a number of years to it that you will do that work. But not just say, I will do this work for 5 years and no longer do it. It also gives you the opportunity to determine what you will be doing on the side in those 5 years, so that when you make that transition, you will get into the work that you find meaningful. And sometimes it's not even so much starting something of your own. It is maybe you need to get certain kinds of certification so that this work that makes meaning for you becomes the work you do in another 5 years. This morning I had a conversation with someone, and she was sharing with me how her son is in a job, but he has decided that he was going to switch to tech. And he has applied for this tech training. But he's working with someone. He was working as maybe executive assistant, yes, I believe, for someone who has now gotten a massive job. And that person wants him to transition with him. And she was asking counsel, should I let him do that? And I said, if ultimately it is not work he finds meaningful, he shouldn't go. He should pursue what he knows. He's a young man. Pursue what he knows would be meaningful work for him. And when he gets it, then, because unless he can have the conversation with this boss and say, if I get this, I'm going to leave, which is not a conversation most of us want to have. Or even if you want to have it, the bosses don't want to have it. Do you see that? So sometimes you build a bridge with the work you do in the moment. Okay, I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, but I'm doing this work for the next 3 years and the next 3 years alone. After the next 3 years, I'm going to transition to this work. But before the next 3 years, everything I need to be ready for this work, I will begin to get it. So you begin to find that your bridge is the work that you are doing, so that when you get to your work that you call meaningful, you do it with all that you have got. So 2 ways to redefine your job. Just ask yourself, what's the reason behind this work? And number 2, you can decide that no matter what the reason is, this is not the work I want to continue to do, but I can give it another 2 years. I can give it another 5 years. So it becomes a bridge for you. So I'm crossing from here to where I need to go. And this job is how I get there.
Exactly. And the good thing about that is that while I'm trying to get there, I'm not losing steam. I'm not losing passion. I understand, because there's now a focus.
Yes.
There's a target at the end of the journey.
Yes. So you now have a goal beyond, I wake up, I go to work, I come back. Exactly. I don't even like the job. I don't even like the people there. The people there become bearable.
Yes.
Because you now have a termination date.
Exactly.
Can you see that?
Yes.
So that's what I meant when I talked about one of the ways to unclutter your life or declutter your life using work. Yes. Right. Any other question?
No other questions for now.
Okay. We're going to go on a break, and when we come back, I'm going to be highlighting for you the tools that you can deploy work for in your decluttering process. Please don't go away. Remember that this is a Nevertheless show, and we'll be back shortly.
Are you seeking to clarify your purpose and profit from it? Then, get into the Purpose University this year. A 10-week e-course for people of faith who seek to clarify their purpose and profit from it. The DNA of purpose has been put together to help you understand what purpose is about and discover what your journey of purpose might look like. Register today at yourpurposeu.org, where Bidemi Mark-Mordi would hold your hands to discover your purpose and live powerfully.
In a world filled with many fears and discouragement, life often becomes a burden. For those who know the way, life is just simple. Do not worry, you're not alone on this life's journey, as Bidemi Mark-Mordi shares powerful insights and principles from her everyday work and life experiences in her book, Nevertheless. Nevertheless is a book designed to encourage and equip you to face life with courage, hope, and determination. Get a copy of Nevertheless and other books written by Bidemi Mark-Mordi, like The Wisdom of the Seed, Honor, The Theology of Work, and so much more from a bookstore nearby, or call 080-905-63555, or send an email to bidemi@bidemimarkmordi.com to place your order. I guarantee you, you will make it, nevertheless.
You're welcome back to the Nevertheless Show, a show for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. And in this Simplify series, we have been talking about people who are tired, exhausted, and overwhelmed. And in this episode today, we're talking about work and how you can use work to declutter, to simplify your life. And of course, I still have with me Bidemi Mark-Mordi here in the studio with me.
Yes, we're looking at simplifying your life through work. And I had said when we started this episode that simplifying your life is not so much about doing less as it is about doing what is right for you.
Yes.
So we've looked at work, and in the first part of this episode, I've also told us that simplifying your life through work is not to say that you should resign your work, but that you need to redefine your work and begin to determine that your work is a bridge to where it is that you are headed. For the rest part of this episode, I want us to see why simplifying our lives by work is something that you should consider. Remember that for this particular series, what I'm doing is I'm bringing us tips of easy to do by yourself, DIYs, things you can do at home or do by yourself without having to call a coach or someone, so that your life will continue to move forward in the place where you feel like you're faced with overwhelm. So work is fulfilling for me. So when I talk about simplifying your life with work, I'm saying find work that is fulfilling, work that brings you satisfaction. If you're trying to determine where am I going to transition to next, make sure that your work can do 5 things. Number 1, make sure that your work fulfills you.
Fulfillment?
Yes, fulfillment. Number 2, make sure that your work is what you can do effortlessly. It doesn't mean that you don't get to train for it or you don't go to school for it. It just means, I call it work you are good for. It's work that flows from your core. You have the talents, the abilities on the inside. So when you process them into skills, products, and services, because they're coming from your core, they're exciting for you to do. Number 3, do work that benefits others. Your work must benefit others. If other people can walk up to you I can't tell you how many times in the course of my life that I'll be low, and I mean really low. It looks like I'm about to hit rock bottom. And then someone will send me a message or call me and say, thank you. That thing you did, that thing you taught, that message you did. Even yesterday, I saw someone, I don't go to threads often, but I saw someone leave a comment under something I had talked about on threads, just the devotions I do every morning. And he said, it was a he said, thank you, ma, because today this was water for a very weary soul. Do you see it? So your work must benefit at least one other person. So if your work only serves to line your pocket, it's not work that can sustain you. Number 4, make sure your work does not break others. Because your work, can serve some people in one corner and break others in this corner. No, your work must not, because what I know about work that breaks others is as you grow older, it begins to weigh on your conscience. When you're young and it seems like you don't have a care in the world, you may think it does not matter. I say, what do I care? And you go, you say, I didn't force them to do it. I didn't force them. But when you become older, you begin to realize that, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't have done this kind of. That's why you find people living in their last days, and their deathbed is regret. Oh, I wish I didn't. I shouldn't have run that. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have allowed that. Do you see it?
Yes.
So, number 5, because this podcast predominantly serves believers in the marketplace, make sure that your work glorifies God. So, what word did I use when I started, before I broke down these 5 things? Satisfaction. If your work fulfills you, but it's not work you're good for, you will struggle.
Yes.
If your work is work you're good for, but it's not work that blesses another person, you will struggle. If your work blesses 5 people and breaks 10 people, destroys 10 people, you will regret it ultimately. But most importantly, do you want to honestly do work that in your final analysis, if you stand before God, you can say, yes, this is how I lived my life. For me, those are the parameters by which I judge satisfaction. So do work that satisfies you, work that excites you enough to continue to do it and continue to do it and continue to do it. So even when things become hard, one of the things that happened on Sunday when the gem broke down was there and then I made up my mind, before the next service we will get another gem. It's not like, we have all the money in the world, but it's something we are going to do. And if Jesus helps me, we are going to do it. What that means, or what I'm trying to help you see, is when work is work you're good for, when work is work that satisfies you, when the work becomes hard, you find a way to win. It was the ball stopped on my table. So that was not a day to say, woe is me, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted. Even if I was feeling that way in the moment, a solution. You see that thing I said about resolution? I have to find a resolution.
Exactly.
So that's number 1. Number 2, when you decide to declutter or unclutter your life by work, it puts you in charge. Because when a man begins to feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and tired, he begins to verbalize it. What he's saying is, I'm losing control.
That's true.
I'm losing control. But when you redefine your work and you can now see clearly the why for your work, it puts you right back in charge and in control. Do you see it?
Yes.
So for the sake of regaining control, I'm not just living my life because people are telling me to live my life.
Right.
I'm not just coming because someone is yanking my chains and telling me, instead, get up, sit down. I'm doing it. When you're in control, it means that you've made a choice to do it. Do you see that?
I do.
So you can actually unclutter or declutter or simplify your life simply by just taking control. By choosing the work you do and how you will do it. The third one is that when you simplify your work, you can always pinpoint your impact points. And every work must bring you to impact. Otherwise, it's been a waste of time. For us believers, we've been given what we call the dominion mandate. The mandate that God has put upon you to make sure that his kingdom come on the earth as it is in heaven. Your job is to establish the kingdom of God in the separate corners of the world where you play. That's impact. Any man that can draw a line between his work and impact will not give up easily on that work. I listened to a short 2-minute speech, 2 minutes of the speech. I think it was all of it that Dr. Aliko Dangote made at Herbert Wigwe's, the commencement of his funeral yesterday. And one of the things that stood out for me was that he kept saying, Herbert always found a way to find a solution. And so therefore, his work was not drudgery for him. It was not tedious. He enjoyed, and that's the stuff that rainmakers are made of. Somebody who doesn't see his work as punishment, something I have to do because I have to do it. Oh, they've come again. In the moment you see that when you get to the end of your work, somebody's life will change. Dangote said it at least 4 times to my hearing, a 2-minute speech, if not more than that. And he said, Herbert will say to me, my mentor, we will find a way. And he agreed that those were times where he was feeling really low. But someone would walk alongside him. And this was work and this was business. But we say to him, we will find a way. That had to be someone whose work was not just going to a bank and sitting down at a big desk. That had to be someone who enjoyed what he did, and he could tell the impact that the work that he was doing was making. So, see, no matter what we say, and no matter how hard we pray, moments of overwhelm will show up from time to time.
Yes.
What we're trying to distill by this series of podcasts today, or this episode, is to find a way to not just cope, but to be on top of the things that trigger overwhelm in our lives. Do you see it?
Yes, I do. I feel this podcast or this particular episode, one of the things that it is doing for me as maybe as someone who's in the younger generation is that it is helping me see how those that have gone ahead of me have succeeded.
Yes.
And I can also follow the same principles to succeed.
Yes.
Because a lot of us were just thinking in our heads, let me just get a job, let me get by.
No.
But,
and then when something goes wrong, you think like you're drowning.
Yes. And
no.
you want to quit and resign.
Yes.
And, go somewhere.
Yes, that's why 2 months ago you testified, I got a fantastic job. We clap for you. This month we're asking as well, that work I don't do them again.
I want to resign.
Because there are things that help us get through rough times. Perseverance is one of them. And a man who has no clear definitions will not be able to persevere.
Yes.
And that's why for me this episode is big. Because, when we started, someone said, what about work-life balance? But this is not about how you do your work. This is about why you do your work. Because then it's no longer I'm filling bags with dirt. It has become I'm saving a town or I'm saving a city. There are two different things. Same activity, two different perspectives. So do you have questions?
This is something, I don't have a question. It's clear. It's speaking to me on different levels as one who is managing a team of people, as somebody who is even trying to, get ahead in life with work that I do. It's showing me that the perspective, the purpose as to that work is extremely important, and I've got to get it right.
Yes, and that's why you must never do work that you cannot link to purpose. And if you find yourself there already, please don't quit in a hurry. Instead, take the time to determine where you need to go. And if you need help, we can help you.
Yes.
We can help you. It's why the DNA of Purpose course exists. As a matter of fact, we're opening our doors again. Registration is on now. We're taking in enrollment and registration because we're starting classes at the end of this month. And so if your thing is, I don't even know what meaningful work looks like, then you can join the DNA of Purpose course, enroll in Purpose University. Just send us a message and we will be able to help you get that done.
All right. Thank you very much, BMM. This was truly revelational. It was transformational for me.
All right. So thank you so much for keeping the faith with us. John, do you have anything to say to
Yes,
like
I always say, please do well to follow BMM on all social media platforms at Bidemi Mark-Mordi. And of course, if you have a comment, you have something to say, you can, put it somewhere in the comment section, or you can send us a message depending on the platform that you're in. And of course, we'll reach out to you almost immediately.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember that I'd say to you over and over again that when you discover purpose, you live powerful lives. We'll see you next week with the concluding episode of this series, Simplify, Uncluttering Your Life for Greatness. God bless you and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nevertheless. For more information and resources, call 080-90563-555 or send an email to bidemi@bidemimarkmordi.com. Don't forget, discovering your purpose helps you live more powerfully.